This is the UTV 40 Ford Friday Night Rivals, sponsored by Mullinax Ford.
Playoff implications on the line here tonight in a 5A Region 1 matchup and a historic night for one of these teams. That would be the Satsuma Gators making their first ever appearance on Friday Night Lights and high school football on TV here in Mobile as they come down Old Shell Road to take on the UMS-Wright Bulldogs. Good evening. I'm Jim Cox, my partner, as always, Dan Brennan. And Dan, learning about this Satsuma team more this week and their coach, Ray Nelson. You know, they're in a tough stretch right now. Played St. Paul's last week, UMS this week, and they got Faith next week. But they kind of feel like, yeah, we're at a place we can play with the top teams now in this region.
Well, they feel that way, and it's the way they play, too. They figure it out. They're not going to try to make anybody – if you're stat happy, don't sign up for Coach Nelson's team. He's more in the offer one for all. And we're going to talk about one of their players that definitely exemplifies that attitude.
Yeah, we met this young man on the pregame show. You know, you got to have that quarterback on defense. You got to have that safety who can come up, get in the box, make plays, but be a leader. And he's everything according to his head coach.
Yeah, great student too. He's got a 31 ACT. He's going to head to Troy. Might be play a little baseball. He's a really good baseball player. But let's get to football. Nathan Booth. He's a safety, but he likes to come up and support the run. He'll have to do that tonight against UMS-Wright because they've got that terrific young running back who's tough as nails. So watch for Booth to. He may pad his stats with some tackles this evening.
Coach Nelson said he's an extension of the coaching staff out there on the field. Now, he's going to be challenged. The corners are going to be challenged for this team. UMS has some receivers that can get the ball in space, but then they can also flat out run by you. And, you know, Colby Stafford, we've seen him do it here on Friday Night Lights already this season.
Yeah, you're going to see him right here, too. We talked to Colby during the pregame, and he just said, you know, Mr. Brennan, I think I was just always fast. I said, okay, well, good. He's like fast when he was 7, fast when he was 9, and now he's about 17, and he's really fast, too. Watch him here. He returns a kind of a not really a botch kick. It just bounces around a little bit. Goes 80 yards against 7A Baker. He's really a weapon. They've got a few on the outside, but the fastest is Colby Stafford.
This UMS-Wright team, they come in 3-2 in the region, so this is a spot they're really not used to being in. We'll talk more about that during the broadcast, but, you know, they've made some errors that Coach Curtis says, hey, we've got to clean these up, but a big chance for Satsuma to make a statement here tonight on Friday Night Rivals and see who is going to come away victorious here tonight on our homecoming version of Friday Night Rivals, a special Thursday night game because of the hurricane. We'll kick it off at Ervin S. Cooper Stadium coming up right after this. Homecoming tonight here at UMS as the UMS-Wright Bulldogs playing host to the Satsuma Gators. 5A Region 1 matchup here tonight on UTV 44. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Jared Kihas, our entire Friday Night Rivals crew. UMS will get this one to start, and Colby Stafford, the speedster, back there to receive the kick from Matthew Zebak for the Gators.
Boy, it's been fun getting ready for this game. Hopefully we're going to have a good one. We've had a blast preparing.
High bouncing kick goes out of bounds at about the 20-yard line, and they dropped the flag, and I guess they went off one of the UMS players touched it, is what they're going to say.
I think they're going to say he didn't touch it, so it will be a penalty, and UMS is going to get the ball further up, or am I wrong?
I didn't see a flag. Okay, so they did drop the... Yep, they did drop the flags. There's Terry Curtis, 22nd year here at UMS-Wright. Of course, won state championships in 01, 02, 5, 8, 12, 17, 18, and 19. Look at that gaudy winning percentage, almost 83% came here in 1999, won 8 straight region championships and 3 straight state titles. 3 straight titles in his first 8 years here, and then has continued to go on, of course, back to back to back. And the long winning streak came to an end against Mobile Christian in week 2, but he has just been as dominant as anybody in the state of Alabama. Went in the Hall of Fame back in 2004, and certainly has been, you know, it's not just one of our favorites. He's a favorite of all the other coaches, too.
Yeah, he really is, and he's got such great perspective, and certainly this stage of his career, you would think that he does, but he definitely does. He keeps everything in perspective, and he says, yeah, this is our record, and this is why, and if we keep doing those things, we're going to have more trouble.
4 turnovers last week, very un-UMS-like.
Yeah, that pretty much sealed the deal.
Let a kick go back for a touchdown, as Zebak will kick again. This time at the 22-yard line. Jackson Graham across the 40, still on his feet, cuts it back inside the 30. And great special teams by the Bulldogs. Set them up at the 22 to open things up. Graham, of course, one of their leaders on defense, and takes that short kick there as they try to kick it away from Stafford. And instead, it's Graham who gets him in position all the way up to the 22. Trace Singleton led this team to a state championship last year. You see what he's done there. 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions on the year. He's also rushed at 117 yards. He's a gamer, as Coach Curtis likes to say, always makes good decisions. And they'll need him to do that tonight against this Satsuma team giving up 16 a game. Singleton rolls out, sets, looking for Lawrence. The touchdown is there. Goes to Jay Lawrence, the tight end, with a touchdown. And the Bulldogs, with a one-play drive and 19 seconds into the game, they're on top.
Yeah, I was watching Lawrence warm up before the game, kind of a fullback, H-back tight end, and he's got pretty good ball skills. I was noticing on his routes before the game, and son of a gun, there it is.
Just one play as you saw our BLP paints.
Perfect pass, though.
Sold a little play action there, and not the start the Gators wanted, but exactly what UMS was hoping to do. Hunt looking to stay perfect on the PATs, and he does. And UMS, about as quickly as you can, jump out on top on the lead. On this one, 7-0 Bulldogs, just underway on Old Shell Road. That scoring drive set up by the big return by Graham. And UMS just needs one play, 23 yards. Lawrence with a touchdown reception, and the Bulldogs on top. 7-0, and now we'll see quickly how Satsuma responds to some adversity here early on as Grant Carpenter ready to kick for UMS. Brocado back deep. Colin Pierce back there as well. And this will come to Pierce at the 12. Pierce lost the football. UMS says they have it at the bottom of the pile. And they do.
UMS so sound on special teams. They had a wall of blockers when they received the kick, and Pierce was pretty much on his own, Jim.
Robert Courtney came up with a loose ball. Let's see who put the hit on it to knock it free. Let's reach it in there. It was John Charles Ervin who just reached in and stripped it out. And Courtney knows a thing or two about getting on a loose football from his defensive side. He even caught a touchdown pass in the game we did.
Courtney's a good player.
A couple of weeks ago, and so now UMS with it at the 22. They started at the 23 last time. And Singleton perfect on the night. And now this Satsuma defense needs to bow up a bit. Stafford cuts it back in the middle. The speedster going to get it down to the 10, and that'll be good for another UMS, or I should say their first down of the evening. It'll be 1st and goal. Hopefully, I said mark him just short. My apologies. Didn't even have a chance to get to the starting lineup last time. Pappas, Stringer, Burkhalter, Beck, and Crane up front for UMS. Roberson and Stafford. Lawrence, the tight end we talked about. You see Norris come in at fullback. Cole Blaylock there, the running back, as they give him 7. Singleton, the quarterback. Blaylock moves. No, that was Edwin White they brought in. On the defense, Sales, McNorton, and Billy Scott. Scott, their leader, up there with 3.5 sacks. Stanley, Hootie, Jordan, Bird. He'll get after the ball as well. Brooks, and then Thames, Brocado, Nathan Booth that Dan talked about in the pregame show, and Metzler back there on the corner. And Edwin White came in, got the carry there, and moved into a 1st and goal situation here for the Bulldogs. Singleton wants to keep it himself, steps to the left side, and good job that time by the Satsuma defense. Bird came up there to help stop things. I'll bring up 2nd and goal. Nathan Booth, your guy.
Yeah, he should be everybody's guy.
So in there to make the stop, we talked about Bird. He's their leading tackler. He's got an interception. He's got a forced fumble on the year, and he'll get around the football. 2nd and goal from the 5. Singleton gives it off. Stafford lunging ahead, and he's going to be just shy. He'll bring up 3rd and goal from inside the 1. Had Courtney in there, the big linebacker, doing some blocking.
I guess they didn't have the jet sweep when we started doing UMS-Wright games way back in the day, but other than that, not much has changed.
No, and a lot of the players look the same. You know, UMS doesn't have a lot of Division I players that come out of here and go play at big schools.
They know how to execute. They know how to play together as a team. They know how to play assignment football. We hope this young guy's going to be okay. Collision down by the goal line. You know, this team has lost a few pieces, including their running back.
Yeah, Andrew Bettis.
Bettis went down with a bad season-ending injury week 4. The 3rd game of the year. Of course, they had COVID issues, or at least on their schedule. I think the issues may have been at BC Rain.
Let's see what. Oh yeah, you hate when you get caught up from behind, and that's Bird. There's one thing Satsuma does not need to do is lose one of their key players from the defensive side of the football, but hopefully that young man. Okay, he's a senior.
He's a tough guy. He's their leading tackler.
And 3rd and goal coming up here for the Bulldogs as Bird makes his way to the sidelines, and UMS will bring in some big blockers again. Courtney in there under center. Singleton on the sneak, and a flag prior to the snap. Oh boy, that's what Terry Curtis is talking about, you know, some penalties. It's not always just a penalty, it's where the penalty happens a lot of times. You know, down on the 1, and a pre-snap McConnell collision flag on the play. Now it's 3rd and goal from the 6. There's our officiating crew. Get a look there tonight. Jonathan King, our referee. And these guys do a great job each and every Thursday or Friday night. Third and goal from the 6 for the Bulldogs. The pitch, Blaylock, little penetration. He bounced it to the outside and gets back to the 1. And it's going to bring up 4th and goal. And looks like UMS doesn't think about it.
He bounced it to the inside, by the way, Jim, because of the play. I think it was Sales. Number 4 pushed everything back inside, gave the Gators a chance to group up and get them to the ground.
Roberson comes in to the near hash, 4th and goal. Singleton again on the sneak, pushes forward, and he's in for the touchdown. Boy, that would have been a big stop for Satsuma's defense if they could have shut the door there after the turnover at the 22. But UMS, not even 4 minutes into this one, has jumped on top 13-0, and Phillip Hunt, who's 18 for 18 on the year on PATs. We'll try to stay perfect and extend the Bulldog lead to 14. And he does. Early in this one, UMS has jumped out to a quick lead. Long kickoff return and a turnover deep in their own end by the Gators has put them in a hole early here on Friday Night Rivals. Well, things going about as well as they could for his team, Terry Curtis, and a tough start for Coach Nelson over on the Satsuma side. 8 plays, 22 yards. As the kickoff fumble after UMS scored on a one-play drive.
Yeah, special teams, Jim, because, look, UMS returned the kickoff all the way down to near the 20-yard line, and then they get a gift when they kick off with a fumble, and so they've had 2 short fields.
So many coaches have always said you play a team like you just can't beat yourself, you know, and that's a tough hole now. Let's see what Satsuma can do on the kickoff here. And
you play UMS-Wright and you're an underdog, Jim, you've got to at least play even in special teams. But that's also often where they do beat you.
So now we're going to have a penalty before UMS kick this one off.
A little anxious.
And think about just how the game started. First kick goes out of bounds. UMS makes them kick it again. Then they get the big return by Graham.
Yeah, all special team plays that really set the table for this 14-0 score.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Satsuma offense come on the field yet. Carpenter to kick. Again from the Bulldogs. This time it will be back to the 35. High kick this time to the far side at the 22. Bricado across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. So now we'll see this Satsuma offense led by their freshman quarterback, Randall Barfoot. He was 8 of 13 last week against St. Paul's. Ray Nelson, his 3rd year at Satsuma, and they're trying to get this team into the playoffs. They've only gone there 4 times in school history, trying to be the 5th this year. And
he's in a great frame of mind with a young team, a program that hasn't known a lot of success, but really excited to be on TV tonight. And
yeah, first time in school history, as we said, to open the broadcast. So we'll see. Barfoot on the give on the inside, out across the 40 is Troy Gibson with his 49th carry. Again, he's filling in for Bettis, Watson, McKeever, Brody, Davis, and Brown up front. Richardson, he's been a little bit banged up. He's back in it. Might see him at some Wildcat tonight as well. Gibson in the backfield. Giles will be a blocking back. Palmer the tight end. And Coulter on the edge, a big lanky receiver at 6'4". Barfoot, after Gibson picked up 9. Second and short, and Z-back will check into the backfield. Coulter over in the slot. Get to Z-back. Grind ahead to the 45, and he'll get 4.
Big line's not doing a bad job right there, Jim.
This UMS defense. Price, Adams, and Snipes, and Aaron across the front. And you got Turner and Courtney, who's their leading tackler at linebacker. Joe Lott, the freshman, growing every game back there at corner. Eichner, Elliott, and Jackson Graham, along with Edwin White, playing back deep there.
First 15 Gators from their 45.
First down here for Satsuma. Play clock inside 10, but Barfoot gives it off. Gibson again. Gibson breaks a tackle. He's shifty, and he's going to pick up 10. The first couple of games of the year, the Satsuma team didn't throw a pass. Wanted to keep it on the ground. You see what Gibson's done again after Andrew Bettis went out with the ACL, and he was by far their most explosive player. But Gibson's done a great job filling in. Their big senior, almost 200 pounds.
Ray Nelson talking about the freshman quarterback. He told him last week, he said, hey, you were 14. It was his birthday,
right.
15. He said, we're going to take the shackles off a little bit, let you throw it. He was 8 for 13.
Yeah, against St. Paul's, and really kind of made him feel like, okay, this is something we can do. And look at Gibson again, all the way inside the 40 to the 39 as he picks up 6 on first down.
Yeah, they've got some guys that can move you up front, and they're doing a really good job.
Actually, a kind of long play to kind of settle things down a little bit for that, a long drive to settle things down for that defense would be something the Gators would love. Quick score, they'd take that as, they'd gladly take that as well.
I think you're right.
The sophomore, and now Coulter comes up. An Try number 3. He can go up and get it inside. Z-back can't get past Courtney, who had him wrapped up the line of scrimmage, and he falls forward to pick up a couple.
Back on the carry. Picks up 1.
3rd and 3 now here for the Gators as we approach 5 minutes to go in the first. Coach Nelson knows a thing or two about quarterbacks and quarterback play. Really likes his freshman quarterback, likes his moxie, his composure, his it factor, everything.
Yeah, he places Carson Green, who we've seen who's finishing out his final year at Saraland High School, a really good player in his own right.
Yeah, started 3 years
here
at Satsuma. Z-back on the right side has a first down for the Gators up to the 31.
Downhill, man. It's all got to do with that line. They're pulling the guards around Jim Trapp, and they're blocking it. And UMS-Wright's having trouble with it.
Let's watch again here as Z-back, the sophomore, up to the 32. Gibson trots back in, and he'll set up just to the right. Randall Barfoot gives it to him, and that time UMS with great penetration to shut that one down.
They've got games remaining as they try to get into the playoffs. Jim, only the 5th time in school history. Faith Academy, Clark County, Gulf Shores.
Clark County, a non-region game, but they're 5-1 heading into this week's action.
Yes, it might come down to the Gulf Shores game for them to create a little history in Satsuma.
Got those big 3 region wins to start the year. Now Barfoot, the flag on the far side, was looking to throw it, instead pulled it down, and got maybe back up to the original line of scrimmage, but we'll see what this flag is. Wanted to get it quickly to the near side, and that was read well, and the McConnell Collision Center flag was over on toward the UMS sideline. Satsuma players pointing like it might be against UMS. Players rarely point to themselves and say that was a flag on.
That was me.
They rarely.
Yeah, and me specifically.
But you know, when you need your car repaired, you're the one who gets to decide, not your insurance company. Tell them you want to go to McConnell Collision Center. They're going to wave the flag off.
3rd down and 8 for Satsuma.
So Barfoot got 4 there, and so now it's going to bring up 3rd and 8. Two tight ends out of the shotgun for the freshman. And Coach Nelson did not like what was going on there, so he takes a timeout, and we'll take one with him. 3:12 to go in the first. UMS jumped out early. Satsuma on the drive here. Big 3rd down coming up on Friday Night Rivals. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Jared Kihos, and our entire Friday Night Rivals crew. Matt Melton, our statistician, here with us again this week. 3rd and 8. Here for the Gators from the 30. Empty backfield. Barfoot dropped the snap, now has to roll out with pressure, and it goes backwards. That one was doomed from the get-go, Dan Brennan.
It was because they were bringing pressure, so you had to have a perfect snap for them to make anything happen.
Loss goes all the way back to the 36.
Looking at the line, everybody was blocking down to the field side, and so like the play might have been coming this way, even though they had the 3 wide receivers split out, and now they've got once again 3 split to the right, 1 down this way.
Now 4th and 15 coming up here. Holden Aaron was the one who busted through the line. Last time they put Gibson out to the bottom of the screen. Instead, they'll come back to the near side. Coulter in that. Actually, it was Richardson. And that one lost yardage on the completion. And Richardson, again, we talked about him being a little bit banged up. But he's back in the lineup, and he's one of their explosive players. But UMS had that one snuffed out.
Yeah, that was a play that was, by design, it was all about deception, Jim. And when UMS-Wright is not fooled, the play's got no chance, and that's exactly what happened there.
Yeah, 4th and 15.
Yep.
It's a tough order. So UMS takes over back of the Gator 37.
Get a better look at this.
I'm sorry, their own 37, excuse me.
Better look at the Satsuma defense now.
Singleton out to Edwin White. White, the Tennessee commit, makes a move, and he's up to the 44.
Well, you need safety help when Edwin gets the ball, and luckily for Satsuma, they got it.
You can drop us an email if you're watching at home tonight. Hey, guys, at utv44.com. We'll do our best to get to your questions or comments during the game tonight. UMS 2nd and short coming up here. Blaylock up the middle. Correct me there. Actually, that was Jordan who came in. His first carry tonight, his 17th of the season. And Will Jordan has the first down. We saw him score a touchdown against St. Paul's early in that game we did here on UTV 44. And
one of the best games we've done, huh? We've had a couple of beauties this year.
We really have. We've had a great schedule work out in our favor. Bulldogs with another first down up at the Gator 47. Singleton empties the backfield. 3 receivers to the top, 2 to the bottom. This time they'll come to Blaylock. Blaylock pushed out of bounds as he up to about the 42. As we're inside a minute to go here in the opening quarter here on Old Shell Road. UMS-Wright hosting Satsuma. Satsuma 0-4 all time. And we talked about the big loss and 3rd game of the season for Satsuma team. Andrew Bettis, I mean, he's not just their leading rusher, just really one of the most explosive players around here, and tore his ACL, and you saw the big numbers he had put up. That was in 3 games, and tough there. Singleton will keep this one. And Trace Singleton has a first down up to the 29. He'll pick up 13.
Hey, there's no telling, how the season goes if Bettis stays healthy. The team just kind of grows around the young quarterback, but that was a tough loss.
Yep.
One thing that Terry Curtis talked about, though, watching him on film, he said they continue to play hard.
14-0 through 1. UMS jumped out to a quick lead, and they're driving again as we'll come back to start the second here on Friday Night Rivals, Thursday night edition. Head coach Terry Curtis, his team has played well tonight here on special teams. Defense forced a turnover and held Satsuma to -8 yards total in that first quarter. And UMS on the drive again at the 34 of the Gators. Singleton looking to go up top, floats this one over, and it's going to be incomplete. Good coverage down there was Hootie Jordan, the linebacker. Racing down there against Jay Lawrence, the tight end, who had the touchdown earlier. And
he made sure that Lawrence didn't get a good look at it, that's for sure.
He just stayed with him stride for stride. And 1st and 10, incomplete. And they bring Edwin White back in. And White is one of those great athletes on that defensive side. They'll bring him in. He can make a spark happen offensively, and they'll hand it to him and see if he can do it. And you see what we're talking about here as White turns the corner. How about this for a spark? Touchdown, Bulldogs.
Yeah.
34 yards.
There were sparks coming out of White. He can really move, and once he got to the corner, Jim, it was over. So shifty and so quick in the hole, and when he got a beat on the sidelines and sucked that cornerback up too far inside, it was 6 points. Watch it again. White, that played designed to go to the right.
Just his 6th carry of the year. His long was 13 coming into this one, but he goes 34 there. And
he's got a new long. Good for him.
2nd touchdown of the season, and UMS quickly up on this one.
Very confident young man before the game. Came over to say hello. We were down on the field.
He was our guest at the pregame show. And kick is good, and UMS behind the Tennessee commit this time. Jump out to a 21-0 lead here on Friday Night Rivals. There you see our score, 21-0 early UMS, the dog pound here tonight. Boy, we've done a lot of games here over the years, Dan.
Boy, have we. And the text line is buzzing a little bit. We've got a lot of folks watching this one at home, including our friend Kelly Grady. And how much do we love his guy, Joe? He ate running backs for like hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, what he's so
a great kid.
So much fun. And you see what UMS did with White's touchdown there, 34 yards, took 2.5 more minutes off the clock. Those were some really fun, personality-filled UMS teams back in those days as well.
Yeah, and Joe's little brother would then kick. He would catch the extra points.
Yep.
Remember? Pretty cool stuff.
And Grady's mom, always a big fan, as well. Alberta and BC ran a Tuesday night game. Then last night, Saraland with a big win over Gulf Shores. Tonight, big 7A matchup on the Eastern Shore. Theodore and Fairhope. Daphne also at home tonight against Mary G. Bryant was trailing early to Murphy. Big 6A matchup, Blunt and Spanish Fort tonight. McGill and Robertsdale, Baldwin County Citronelle, Faith Academy and Viger. That's an interesting matchup tonight.
Agree.
And also Bayside and College Hill. And Cottage Hill, big 3A game there. St. Luke's and Leroy tonight. Brantley and Georgiana getting after it. Then we had Tuesday night, we had Wednesday night, we got Thursday night, we got maybe some Friday games, we got Saturday games this week. There's a whole host of games this week. Of course, the hurricane early when we were in the cone this week had to get these games shifted, and just never know, as we certainly know all too well, not knowing what was going to take place there. Here's the region standing. You see why this game is so important. Faith Academy sitting right behind St. Paul's, who's unbeaten. St. Paul's has already beat UMS. They've already beaten, of course, this Satsuma team as well. So you're kind of looking at this as if you're going to be determine the number 3-4 spot in the region. Sure. If you're number 3, you go up against a 2. If you're a 4, you got to go on the road to play a number 1.
Right. Yeah, 2-3, you feel like you got a shot, you know. This team blocks well, Jim. I can see how they can squeeze the air out of the football a little bit. And I think tonight against UMS-Wright, you know, I know you're down 21, but at the same time, you want to keep giving the ball back to a team that seems to have a lot of answers offensively, right?
Yeah, and you got to do what you do as well. Coach Nelson was telling us about that. We've enjoyed getting to know him this week. Boy, what a player he was at Theodore.
So when I met Ray Nelson, it was actually at a 1st and 10 meeting. That was in support of the bowl game, the Mobile, Alabama GMAC Bowl, Dollar General, and such. And he was the offensive player of the year for South Alabama. He was a quarterback at Theodore, and they went ahead and deployed more of a kind of a spread, and they were a little ahead of the game. If you remember when Steve Spurrier got to the SEC and people were saying, well, that's not going to work in this league. Well, it did. And then years later, Theodore gets pass happy, and Nelson has incredible stats and goes on to Sanford.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about those stats. How about our trivia question here tonight? So name the former UMS-Wright defensive coordinator who was also the head coach of Satsuma, 1970 to 1974.
Long time ago.
Think about 1973. Is that our first year doing these games? Not quite. Not quite. So think about that. We'll tell you that in the second half. I will say this. I know his son and he are both watching the game here tonight. They're watching at home on TV. And there's our BLP Paints School Colors cam.
Again, former UMS defensive coordinator.
Yep.
Who at one time was the Satsuma head coach.
Head coach.
In the early 70s.
70 to 74.
Huh.
Hey, we're talking about Coach Nelson here at what he's doing with this program at Satsuma. And, you know, such huge numbers he put up at Theodore. Dan talked about he was the 6A player of the year, 6A back of the year in the state of Alabama as well.
Those eyes leveled
Through,
back then.
yep, threw for 403rd and short, and they threw for 455 yards in the first round of the playoffs.
Unreal.
I mean, and again, like 2000, they weren't chucking the ball over the field like this now.
It was still pretty much everything around them, Jim, was old school, except they weren't.
Yeah, Coach Pope, who's on UMS Curtis's staff now, he was his quarterbacks coach out at Theodore. Joe Downey was the head coach, and that was a great time in Theodore Bobcat football.
Yes, it really, really was.
Z-back, ooh, big hit just past the line of scrimmage. That one all the way up here, picks up a couple. Just watch the big hit as Z-back, sophomore comes through, and that's Courtney.
And he's a football player, has already recovered a fumble tonight.
2nd and 8 here for Satsuma.
Watch the way this offensive line works. They're getting a bit of a push. You got the guard pulling to the left. This time UMS-Wright's all over it.
Z-back gets 1 and 3rd and long.
Yeah, they're not as comfortable in this. You recall UMS brought pressure and they had trouble with the snap, and it blew up a drive on a 4th down play.
Clark Turner, who's had a great year at linebacker for the Bulldogs, in to make the stop. And yeah, I mean, but I don't care who you are and what level it is. You get 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 behind the sticks, 4th and soft. You know, they had 3rd and 12, 4th and 15. It's tough, and empty the backfield.
This is probably the youngest starting quarterback we've seen all year too.
Yeah.
Well, we had one last week, didn't we?
Just turned 15, as Coach Nelson was saying. Fires that one off, and Turner, the linebacker, in coverage, able to knock it away.
Good play by Turner because it was a good throw.
Bring up 4th down.
Do you give it to UMS at midfield again? I mean, I know if you go for it, your intention is to get the 1st down.
Turner with the snap we talked about. He's had a really strong year this year. Those 5 tackles for losses, and drop back there in coverage. And here's your answer on 4th and 7, right at midfield. Baylor Sullivan splits out wide to the bottom of the screen. Colin Pierce in the slot. They dump it out of the backfield. Z-back dropped it. Might have heard some footsteps coming as soon as the ball got there. So did Cameron Snipes, guest on our pregame show. Think he's got a haircut yet?
Yeah, there was a request by Coach Curtis. Yeah, he probably got a haircut that night.
Request is a kind way to put it, but
man,
Snipes blasted in there. And
that's twice on 4th down that UMS had the play figured out before it even unfolded. So give them credit defensively. That's Jay Cozio, the old Robertsdale Golden Bear.
And Coach Nelson was just talking about how, you know, he's a young head coach for sure. And he said, you know, some of the coaches on UMS staff, like, they coached our coaches.
I know.
Not just, you know, haven't coached some other former players. They coached our coaches. The far side in some space, able to get it off to Stafford. And the speedster will pick up a handful. And
you want to try to keep him inside so you have help.
Because he's always been fast.
That's what he told me. It's so great meeting these kids in the pregame show, because we might kind of say a little hello, cursory hello on the playing field before the game, but actually getting to see them with their helmet off and their personalities and their interest beyond football and their academic success. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, Dan said, have you just always been fast? And he said, yes, sir. I've pretty much been the fastest kid in my class the whole. Yeah. But like Coach Curtis said, there's a lot of fast kids out there, but there's a difference between fast and being football fast and being able to run routes, catch the ball, see the field. Speaking of fast, here's Blaylock, just a sophomore, and there's a flag there. This one might come back for a hold.
Blaylock's had kind of a separated shoulder, or he's played with an injury for a while that he's just toughed on through. This kid is
just a sophomore.
Tough as nails for a sophomore.
Closing in on 500 yards rushing on the year. He's also caught 14 passes out of the backfield. I think they might get Cade Beard here on the McConnell flag on the hold.
Spot of the foul, so it's not disastrous, but it does bring up second down.
Second and 8.
Offense, replay second down.
There you go, Jonathan, with the mic on.
Yeah.
Got you.
Don't make the wrong call after an accident. Call McConnell. Call their collision center. They're home of the invisible repair. Second and 8 after the holding call. Stafford in motion to the slot and rolling out. Looking to air it out. Pressure coming. Singleton able to get away from it. Now fires, and he tried to come back to Lawrence. Oh boy, Devon Stanley was in there. And Singleton able to scamper away and keep that play going. Was trying to get his tight end again. Also in there on the...
Good job by Satsuma keeping him inside, and that was the key to the play. And the throw was errant because of the continued pressure, and they never let him get around the corner.
Yeah. Norton, I think, one of the ones in there.
Stanley did a nice job from his linebacker spot.
Boy, Gators need to stop here, Dan Brennan.
Big time.
At the 48 on 3rd and 8. Singleton wants to set up the screen. Comes to Blaylock, and Blaylock has the first down. And good open field tackle to upend him there, but not before he gets the first down. And that was Richardson, who comes over from the offensive side and plays some defense here. But
it looked like great penetration, Jim, but the fact is the offensive linemen just let them go. They let them go. They brought them up into the quarterback's face because they knew they were going to go have their blocking assignments downfield, and boy, they did a nice job.
BLP Mobile Paints, school colors cam, and first down up to the 46 for the Bulldogs as we approach the halfway point of the second quarter. And keep your eyes on number 1. Edwin White checks in, and they fake it to him, and Singleton will keep it. He took a hit in the backfield and got back to the line of scrimmage. That was about it. Good penetration. And got maybe 2 on the play.
Ray Nelson is not only the head football coach up there, he's also a special ed teacher.
They told us on the pregame show, he said, I'm a teacher first and a coach second.
Really awesome conversation with him, not only the other night for the pregame show, but also pregame here this evening down on the field. But a young guy that community can rally around.
Singleton. And more pressure coming over the middle of the field, able to get that one complete. Cade Beard with the reception, and he's up to the 23-yard line. Pickup of 12. Maybe another first down for UMS.
Nathan Booth a little upset that they were able to get the yardage, but he does come up and makes a heck of a tackle right there. No, I'm sorry, that is not Booth. Give it to 6. Bricado. Good hit.
Methodically moving it again here. Got it down to the 23. Hard count, and Singleton able to.
He must have made contact, Jim, because he could have gotten back.
Came across on the hard count from Singleton on the Connell Collision Center.
Offside penalty will bring up a first and 5 for the Bulldogs.
First and 5 for UMS with just 5 minutes to go here in the second. Singleton gives it off to Blaylock and down around the 10.
Both these teams, it's all about the blocking, and Blaylock just has a real good sense of where the play is going to go, why certain gaps are going to be there, and he exploits them. And he's just a heady, tough player.
We mentioned it in one of the games earlier this season. We said, how much fun is he going to be to watch in the next couple of years, just a sophomore. He's not big at all yet, but he's gonna fill out. And
yeah, he's going to work to get bigger, and when he gets bigger, he's going to be a real problem.
First and 10 from the 11. Pressure. Singleton rolls and throws that one into some coverage. Damian Siles, big defensive end, 6'2", 230, was there in hot pursuit of Singleton.
He's looking for Ervin White, but so was Satsuma. They had him blanketed. And a nice job by the Gator defense. They're still playing hard. This is what Terry Curtis noticed on film. You know, you have a quarterback transfer out. You've got a great running back get hurt early in the season. And this team never stopped giving effort. And I guess Terry brought that up because I guess there's times on film you watch a team and you say, they don't give great effort on every play.
And Coach Curtis, a lot of times, you know, that's from coaching.
Yep.
And, you know, he was very complimentary of the Satsuma staff.
Yes, he was.
Second and 10 from the 11. Singleton keeps it on the right side, waits for some blocks, and now he changes direction. There's a flag that comes in. He got in. Oh, I thought, my mistake. I thought I saw a flag on the far side. Instead, it's the 11-yard touchdown run. So Singleton with the TD, and
that wasn't a scramble either. That was a quarterback power.
Just wait.
It was blocked well for him. Then he made the cutback to get it to the end zone.
Let his blockers get set up in front of him and cut right off the hip. And here's Hunt trying to make it 28-0 lead, and he does with 4 minutes and change to go in this one. 5A Region 1 matchup tonight. All Bulldogs so far. Singleton with the score. Four minutes, 21 seconds to go in the second quarter. UMS on top of Satsuma, 28-0 here, and 10-play, 50-yard drive that took almost 4 minutes for the Bulldogs that time, and Satsuma turned it over on downs right at midfield, and UMS takes it down for the score. Carpenter sends this one into the end zone. All right, 28-0, momentum all the other way. Got to get something going here before the half.
I think you got to get it on the ground too. You know, just keep that big offensive line busy. Roll that clock. Don't get it. You know, try not to give it back to UMS-Wright. Obviously, they've got a lot of offensive answers tonight.
Want to thank one of our great partners, Mullinex Ford, driving our broadcast each and every Thursday night or Friday night, as the case may be. And thanks for being a part of Friday Night Rivals here on a Thursday from Cooper Stadium on Old Shale Road. Barfoot trying to get this offense going. Inside give to Z-back will get a couple. That'll be about it. UMS just kind of bottling things up here after saw Satsuma move it a little bit on their first drive. Holding Aaron again in there to make that stop. Rolling out, pressure coming. Barfoot steps up and fires. It's going to be incomplete. Is that one just a little bit too far in front of Braden Coulter?
Nice catch, actually.
Yeah, it's Baylor Sullivan. My correction there. Thought it was Coulter, and here you are, Satsuma again, third and 8.
Quarterback just needs to keep his composure, and they need to block a little bit up front. UMS, boy, for years, loves to bring the pressure in an obvious passing situation. They've got a freshman quarterback back there, so let's see how this one plays out.
Now they'll go 4 receivers in a bunch set to the right. Step into the pocket, Barfoot hit from behind. Ben Price, the senior, with his first sack of the season.
He only brought 3 or 4, Jim, so it was just a great individual effort getting off a block.
Good coverage downfield, too.
Yeah, he never really got it. Good point. They dropped everybody back, basically, and that was either 3 or 4 rushing the quarterback, so they got home without the numbers. And like you said, with the numbers on the backside, able to cover anything that the young quarterback was trying to find.
Satsuma now with minus 13 yards of offense here in the first half.
It's been tough.
Flag here. This one going to be against Satsuma as well. Might have had too many on the field. They were trying to get somebody out of the huddle there, I think, and back him up.
Dead ball foul. Illegal substitution on the offense. Replay 4th down.
Now you'll see Charlie Palmer punt to Edwin White, who's standing at the Gator 40. He already has a touchdown here this evening.
Yeah, he's got visions of the end zone bobbing through his head right now, White.
10 up on the line of scrimmage for UMS. They're coming with pressure, and Palmer off the side of his foot.
Gosh.
And that one goes out of bounds at the 21-yard line. That'll be a 9-yard punt. And things continuing to be a bit of a challenge here for Satsuma. More of our great partners on Friday Night Rivals. Andy Citron, injury attorney, is going to give one of our Scholastic Athletes of the Year a $5,000 scholarship at the end of this season. Connell Collision Center. Thank you to, again, our control of this one in great field position to start. Singleton steps up in the pocket, has time, a little crossing route, able to get Edwin White. And good open field tackle at the 15. And White couldn't quite break free there, but this one they gave Singleton time to let this one develop. Good job there to Joshua Metzler to bring down the D1 commit before he could break free and head on to this one as we look at our BLP Paint School Colors cam again.
Pleasant evening, little muggy, but I'll take it.
2nd and 3, Singleton again. Time comes to the near side. Beard's got it. His 2nd catch of the night.
Well, they work on that throw a lot. It's a timing route. Sometimes that pass is in the air before the receiver's even made his break.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect on that one.
Markel Richardson over there, 6'4" on the coverage.
Yeah.
But, as you said, the ball in the air before the break was even started by the receiver, and UMS at 1st and goal at the 5, inside a minute to go. UMS with all 3 of their timeouts. Jordan in, Blaylock in the backfield as well, and rolling out. Plenty of time back at the end zone, dropped. Tried to come to Lawrence, wanted his 2nd touchdown pass of the night. Singleton, lots of time. Satsuma wasn't bringing a lot of pressure. They had,
they were
bottled up.
Not much penetration, but they had a lot of people covering on the backside. And there's Lawrence waving his arms. He is open right there, and really knows he should have come down with it. Pretty disappointed in himself. And Singleton almost rolled out there like he was knowing, even though everything was the one corner of the end zone, half the field was gone to him, but he confidently was striding out there like it'll come open.
Yep. Stafford throws in motion. They give it to him. Stafford into the end zone for the touchdown.
Big block on the corner. Stafford cuts it up, and Bulldogs are going to have 35 at the half.
The speedster. Let's watch here. But again, as a speedster, not afraid to stick his nose up there in the contact, and took a big lick at the goal line. But as Nathan Booth, our guy, put the hit on there. Coach Curtis wants perfection on every play. And Hunt makes it 35-0.
Well, maybe not in Coach Terry Curtis's eyes is this a perfect first half for the UMS-Wright Bulldogs, but if you're watching on TV or just glancing at the score, you'd think pretty darn good.
Impressive here for UMS. They've had short fields they've been able to take advantage of tonight. And Satsuma will also get it to start the second half. We'll see if they try to make a little something here with one timeout remaining. Coach Curtis's 22nd year here. Only in 2 seasons have they lost back-to-back games.
Wow. Really?
Lost last week in overtime to Faith. But they lost in 2007 when they went to 5A.
Yeah, they had a season that was about 500. They got in the playoffs and made a little noise.
Then went to the third round of the playoffs. Yeah. And then in 2010, it was the only year, in all the years Terry Curtis has been at UMS, they lost in the first round of the playoffs. They lost to Strawn 36-32, and they lost week 10 to St. Paul's.
And there's your 2 in a row, huh?
It's only happened twice.
Wow.
Happened in 2 different seasons here at UMS.
What a disgrace.
We're back inside the Bob Sullivan.
Yeah, you just look at the difference when the kick is off to UMS-Wright and the blocking that they have, and then Satsuma just cannot create the same sort of wall of protection for their return man, and they've got no shot. UMS-Wright all over them.
Thanks to Greer's, they've been a part of high school football for many, many years with us here on Thursday nights or Friday nights, as the case usually is. So thanks to the fine Greer family and Barrow Fine Furniture. Also, again, a part of high school football on TV here in Mobile. They bring Gibson back in the backfield behind Barfoot, and that one got started a little early.
Yeah, it was the
dead ball foul. False start on the offense.
Tailback got started. He set up right behind the quarterback and got started a little bit early.
And that brings out the McConnell Collision Center flag on the play. Barfoot with the give. Gibson, we saw him. But there might have been a face mask there. We saw Gibson on that first drive that was able to do some downhill running, as you talked about there, Dan, and he'd been out for several drives, and now he's back in there. It was just short of the first down, and I think that'll bring the first half to a close.
When you look at the yardage, it would be hard to say that offensive line played pretty well in the first half, but believe it or not,
they did.
They kind of did.
Yep. Coach Nelson over there talking to his freshman quarterback with a big start for UMS, but I guess Terry Curtis will have some things that
says it all, though, right there. They're way down into the first half. He's got a young quarterback. He was a young quarterback. He really loves the kid, and he's just trying to make sure that
coaching
him up. Get into halftime. We're gonna work on some things and do it better in the second half.
35-0 our score at the half. Terry Curtis, the head coach of the Bulldogs, and Coach, you talked about eliminating mistakes and some of those things. You got to be pretty happy with the first 2 quarters you've seen out of your team here tonight.
Well, so far we gotta play a full game. I'm proud of them. For a change, we hadn't had 100 mistakes and penalties and everything else, and the score shows it. So we got to go in here and get some things going, and hopefully we can keep it going and play a few young kids and finish this thing out.
Coach Curtis, this is Dan, and special teams usually look pretty special at UMS-Wright. They've been a big key to your quick start tonight.
Well, they are, and they tried to kick away from our 2 speedsters from Edwin and Kobe, and Jackson Graham can run too, and he showed them that by just about taking it all the way back. So we got 3 good guys back there, and we don't really move them around. We let them play their position and kick it to whichever one you want to. But, yeah, and then we got the bad punt right here before the half with, with the pressure. So, yeah, kicking's a big part of our what we like to do.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time, and go Bears.
Go Bears.
All
right, man.
Coach Terry Curtis, head coach
Go Bears.
of the Bulldogs. There's another game going on tonight here. Not here, but going on tonight as well. Halftime.
You need an update on that?
No. 35-0 UMS on top of Satsuma here on our Friday Night Rivals Thursday night edition here from Mobile. As you can see, it's homecoming here at UMS-Wright here tonight, and Bulldogs enjoying the home facilities, 35-0 on top of Satsuma. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, our entire UTV 44 crew. Jared Kihas down in the truck, and this one a big lead for UMS at the half. And last week, Dan, we went up to Saraland, had a matchup, Saraland and Spanish Fort, and Saraland came in unbeaten, number 2 in the state, but Spanish Fort on the ground game. Johnny Morris went up there and surprised the Spartans, I'd say, a bit.
They didn't. I'll say this: maybe the win surprised some people, but Spanish Fort wasn't surprised, right? And Morris, they were just the more physical team. They really were. And Morris benefited from that offensive line, creating some holes, and he's a dynamic back himself. And he had himself today. You might remember him last year as number 12, number 1 this year. I guess he's earned that number 1. He certainly earned it the other night. Our Friday Night Rivals player of the game, Johnny Morris, Spanish Fort Toros.
Yeah, and like a lot of Spanish Fort teams we've seen over the years, maybe if they're a little slow out of the gate this year, they lost to 7A Fairhope and then lost a tight one to St. Paul's on national TV, but then they continue to get better and better and better, and it looks like they are hitting their stride at the right time again this season.
Yeah, they don't sweat a slow start. It doesn't faze them. They've been through it before. They open the season usually with some really good opponents like McGill. And
yep.
So, much better as the season's gone along, so keep an eye on the Toros as we head to the playoffs.
Our player of the game brought to you by Herc Rentals, one of the leading equipment rental suppliers, over 275 locations in North America, including one here in Mobile. Herc Rentals service key markets such as commercial and residential construction, industrial and manufacturing, government and infrastructure, emergency response, remediation, as well as petrochemical and refining markets. So thanks to Herc Reynolds for being a part of Friday Night Rivals. Here it is UMS on top, 35-0 over Satsuma in a 5A Region 1 contest. It's been all Bulldogs so far. There you see our score at halftime. UMS on top 35-0. Terry Curtis was telling us in the pregame show, it's like, we can't keep making these uncharacteristic mistakes. And just heard him talking before we left the field there. That's been the case. Satsuma's had some of those kind of self-inflicted wounds here tonight, and they'll have to try to get that cleaned up a little bit here in the second half.
Well, you look at the programs, look at the history of the programs, what they have been through time, and especially since Terry Curtis has been here at UMS-Wright. 2 times in 20-some years where they've lost 2 games in a row in a season. I mean, that's incredible. All the state championships. The Satsuma Gator team now trying to make the playoffs for the 5th time in school history.
Right.
So that tells you a lot. One thing that I really like with Ray Nelson and his staff, too, and with an advantage they've got is Satsuma is now its own school district.
Yep, city schools.
And so they've got their own school district, and if you want to look just a little bit further south from them at Saraland and see the way you do it and the way you take advantage of that, they've done it about as well as anybody. Now, they don't have to be Saraland, but they can probably be a better version of Satsuma than they've ever been before.
No question about it. Hey, every week, Andy Citron and his group, they present our Scholastic Athlete of the Week. This week, Ben Price had a sack there in the first half, his first of the season. Saw him come off the edge and made a sack there. 33 on the ACT. Plays not only football, but runs track here. And you see everything that he does here at UMS, and is going to go to Auburn and major in engineering. And so congratulations to Ben Price, our Scholastic Athlete of the Week. And Andy Citron Injury Group, they are going to present one of our Scholastic athletes at the end of the season with a $5,000 scholarship And we look forward to sharing that news with you at the end of the season as well. So thanks to Andy, and congratulations to Ben Price, our Scholastic Athlete of the Week here from the UMS-Wright Bulldogs. Halftime here, just won all UMS on a Thursday night edition of Friday Night Rivals here on UTV 44. Halftime, it's been all Bulldogs here in a 5A Region 1 matchup. UMS-Wright leading Satsuma by a score of 35-0. Both teams making their way out of their respective locker rooms, and we'll come back to start things up in the third quarter right after this on Friday Night Rivals here on a Thursday night from Old Shell Road. Beautiful setting for a high school football game here on a Thursday night, on a beautiful evening for high school football. Games moved up from Friday to Thursday this week. That's why we're here at UMS-Wright, and they have been in control of this one from the get-go. Had a big kick return to open things up, and then a one-play drive, then a fumble, and they went back in and scored. So they really have been in control since the beginning. And now if you're Satsuma, you got to try to find some type of positive to take out of this in the second half, right?
Yeah, they had some times during the first half where they actually ran the ball decently. I think you're going to lean back on that a lot in the second half and just eat up some clock, keep that ball away from what has been a very explosive UMS-Wright offense so far. And if you don't believe me, watch this.
Singleton on the first offensive play of the game goes to his tight end, Jay Lawrence. Then on a fourth down, a quarterback sneak. That made it 14-0, and we were only very early in the first quarter. Then after that, then you get it in the hands of Ervin White. He goes 34 yards for the score there, and UMS was cruising at that point. And then Colby Stafford adds another one late in the half after a very short punt from Satsuma, and UMS on top 35-0 at the half. And Satsuma got some yards on the ground there in the second quarter, but really have not been able to do anything through the air. Just 53 yards of total offense, and UMS-Wright has been in control of this one. You see Gibson has done a good job on the ground for Satsuma when they've got it to him. We'll come back, kick things off to start the third quarter. Friday Night Rivals on a Thursday here. UMS and Satsuma 5A Region 1 matchup on UTV 44. Another week of high school football here. We've all season long. We've with COVID, wondering how many games are we going to see played on the schedule, and we've seen the teams down here do a pretty good job of
managing
best as they
all.
can. Yeah,
pretty amazing. And how about we have not lost a game to a storm? That was remarkable. We were at Ladd Stadium right after that midweek storm.
Yep.
That was so consequential and is for so many of our friends and residents, and in many cases each other,
yep.
With loss of property and everything like that. And so pretty amazing year. Not amazing in a great way, but they have managed this thing pretty remarkably, including the COVID-19 at the high school level.
After this week, 3 weeks left in the regular season.
We didn't know we were going to get there.
And like Dan said, throwing a couple of storms as well and get through those, and everybody's been able to be good on making adjustments. Satsuma gets it here to open things up. Colin Pierce to the 20. You can hear Satsuma coaches down there. See Satsuma, so they're off in the first week, then lost to Citronelle by 1. Then BC Rain couldn't play because they were dealing with COVID. Then they go for 2 and beat Alberta. And then really best performance of the year was that win against LaFleur. And then lost to St. Paul's last week. And we talked about just this little gauntlet they're coming through here. St. Paul's, UMS, Faith Academy, then Clark County, a one-loss team, not a region game, of course, but a tough stretch to get them ready for the playoffs. For sure, is maybe if they continue to grind on here, maybe a 4 seed and pushing to the left side, and not much there as we see Cameron Snipes, one of the first ones in there to make the stop. Blake White in there to help.
Yeah, I think this UMS-Wright team came into this game a little angry too, Jim. I mean, they're better than their record shows. When you look at those final scores and the way it all went down, the losses that they've had,
3 losses
could have all been wins.
2 in overtime by a total of 10 points. They lost by 2 to St. Paul's. They lost by 1 to Mobile Christian, which was an overtime game, and they lost by 7 to Faith Academy in overtime last week in a game they turned it over 4 times.
Yeah, you can't do that against Jack French.
Yeah. So there you look at what we're talking about. They opened the season here on Friday Night Rivals with a big win over 7A Baker, and then the winning streak snapped in overtime against Mobile Christian when they went for 2. And then the game we had here on Friday Night Rivals against St. Paul's, such a great game. They're in control of that game. It looked like halftime, had a kickoff called back, and then St. Paul's comes back to get the victory. So, yeah, 3 losses, 2 in overtime, and, won by 2 points to one of the best teams in 5A. St. Paul's ranked number 2.
Yeah, so they've been more than competitive. They just have done some uncharacteristic things for a UMS-Wright team to lose those games. And the 4 turnovers last week really sticks out to me.
A lot of seniors on this team, but there are a lot of seniors who are getting to play for the first time now with UMS coming off 3 straight state championship appearances and 3 straight championships. 4th down. Gibson stoned on the left side. Adams, one of the first ones in there, and also I think Clark Turner, the linebacker we talked about earlier, is Gibson. Yeah, Turner in there to wrap him up, and just
heard some of the Satsuma coaching staff. Somebody from that staff yelling that Blake Adams, the defensive tackle, was offsides. Don't know if that was a fact or not, but the Bulldogs do get the stop.
And now we'll see Barton Elliott take over at quarterback as looks like Trey Singleton's night is over at the half. Will Jordan in the backfield, and Jordan busts this one right up the middle. He's down to the 20, so 10-yard pickup on first down, and we'll see a lot of new faces in there in the second half. And Terry Curtis talked about that. He said wants to get some young kids in there to play here in the second half.
I think you're going to see some young Bulldogs on both sides of the ball here real soon.
Jansen Graham in the backfield, and he'll pick up a couple.
Would it be your guess he's Jackson's brother?
Yeah. Indeed he is. Picks up 2. And Barton Elliott, he's 6'2", 170-pound junior quarterback. He's 10 of 22 on the year for 139 yards. 2nd and 8 here for the Bulldogs. Trouble with the snap. Elliott rolls out looking, fires, gets that one complete off to Stafford, and he's got it down to the 10-yard line.
Well, that's what we talk about Stafford. He's not just a pretty face. He's not just speed. He's a football player. And this play is completely haywire. He beats containment, finds Stafford.
That's a good throw in front of the linebacker.
Yeah, it was a good throw, and Stafford made a nice catch. Go up in the air to grab it.
Brings up a 1st and goal.
A lot of fun to spend time with that young guy in the pregame show.
Give to Graham, and TJ Waller, big freshman who's going to be a big part of this defense for Satsuma going forward in there to make the stop. Second and goal here coming up for UMS. Next week, UMS has BC Rain. As you look at TJ Waller there, just a freshman.
Wow, how about that? 2 freshmen in the starting lineup for this team.
Both going to be anchors on each side of the ball going forward.
Yep.
Again, bobbled snap. Able to pick it up. Elliott fires, and he's able to get it to Beard, and Beard in for the touchdown.
Boy, a botched play, and yet they turn it into 6, and Beard's a good player, too. He's another one of those big, lanky wide receivers for UMS. Has been very productive.
His second touchdown on the season, and Elliott doesn't get rattled on either one of those low snaps.
Well, they don't get any penetration. He's got a one-on-one, so it's easy for him to read, is Beard open or not. And he sees Beard's got a step. Off goes the throw. 6 points for the Bulldogs.
Henry Harris on for the PAT, and the freshman knocks it through. Everything bouncing the Bulldogs' way here tonight on top 42-0. Beard, good job reaching for the pylon on the score. Home side happy? I think that's Frank Lott right in the middle of the screen. It is. Frank and Allison right there, just off to the right of the box. Yeah, you know Frank Lott.
I do.
Yeah, right.
I do.
Heritage Home sitting right there enjoying tonight's broadcast. His son Joe starting cornerback on this team as a freshman. 5-play drive for the Bulldogs here after the turnover on downs. And they extend the lead to 42-0. And Carpenter on the kickoff here. His legs got to work out here this evening. UMS going to be offside again on the kickoff. The McConnell collision flag on the play.
Got players on the field tonight that are like right at that cutoff age. Are they old
Offside
enough
on the kicking team, re-kick.
to trick or treat on their own? And they're out here playing football.
You know, we were talking about that in the breakdown about just the difference between a freshman and a senior in high school.
You know, remember what it was like?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, physically mature. You know, everything. And so you see when you have a freshman quarterback out here starting tonight, like you do for the Gators. I mean,
remarkable. Not only on the field, but in a leadership position and doing his job, according to Coach Ray Nelson.
Another high kick. Pierce inside the 10. And Pierce up to about the 20. And as Satsuma brings their offense back out here, tell you about more of our great partners on Friday nights, including Herc Reynolds, our player of the game. Got a lot of choices on the UMS side to pick tonight as to who the player of the game nominees will be, thanks to Herc Reynolds and Fusackley's feeding our crew, as always, at BLP Mobile Paints. Back for another year here on Friday Night Rivals. Give on the inside. Z-back. Now back to Fusackley. Bayway was a bit of a mess coming over here. I was a little later than usual, so I didn't see if you were hovering around the fries. I was a little pre-game ritual. Did you keep it intact?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I keep the intake very low.
Yes.
For a number of reasons we don't need to get into. But thank you to Fusackley's. And, you know, talking about this crew, and you see them, we see them dressed in blue around the field, and what a dedicated crew we have of folks who really, really give their time and their talents to these broadcasts, starting with Jared Kihas, the executive director, every week.
Yeah, I mean, they get Barfoot rolling out, pressure coming, dumps it off, and he's hit. Incomplete is Will Smith coming in there. Yeah, our crew, I mean, they're here. Christian Clark, just one of them. I mean, they get here, 9 o'clock in the morning or so, start setting everything up, running miles and miles of cable, and it's a long, long day for them. And then they got to go back to the station and unpack everything. Van Yakai and Patrick Laughlin is grip, as they call it in the business. I need a grip. Jared, how come I don't have a grip up here? I could use a grip. Okay, I do have a stats guy, he says, so.
I think I'm your grip.
Matt Melton, our stats guy. Who's
I've been your grip all this time?
Maybe.
Wow.
But our crew, they do such, like today it was raining here about 3 o'clock this afternoon as they were still. And so when it rains, that means everything you've set up, then you got to go get covered up with plastic because, see, we just have to, We were dang near covered up with plastic to start the broadcast here.
That might not be a bad idea.
Our tippy toes. But, I mean, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 monitors here that they all have to get covered in plastic when it rains because it just electronics and water don't go all that well together.
Okay, I didn't know that. If you say so.
Stat guy, again, Kihas pulls off the midseason trade. Gets Matt Melton to come here. And
it's a big move.
Oh, comes in. We got fancy new stats, new equipment here. Old guy, I'm not saying he was run out of town from the stat department, but after Kihas made the trade, it was just Kyle Bland down in the end zone, and now Barfoot wants to haul this one up in the air, and just out of the reach is dropping back there. Ben Hollingsworth was rushing back.
We got some young guys on the UMS side excited to be out on the field right now.
Yeah, and Terry Curtis has talked about that fact a lot with us because successful as that program's been, they've been in a lot of games like this, and he said, these kids, they practice. They're there as much as the starters. They're there every day at practice. They're working hard. They deserve it. And he said, and we're going to need them at some point this year, or if they're an underclassman in the years down the road. And he said they deserve to get in there in these games.
Quite simply, Terry doesn't hang his ego on the final score. He's not concerned about that. He's concerned about player development and getting kids on the field that simply deserve it.
Pitch to the near side. They come to Pierce as we see him carry it out of the backfield for the first time.
Nice cut back by Pierce.
John Charles Ervin came in to make the stop. Yeah, Pierce, a good-looking senior wide receiver. Third down. Coming up here for the Satsuma Gators.
Just run it right here. It's going to be 2-down territory, Jim, so that'd be my guess, even though they've got 5 wide out. So maybe I'm completely off my rocker.
Both coaches agreeing to have the continuous clock just run here in the second half, even after incomplete passes. And Barfoot going to lunge ahead and get the first down up to the 48-yard line.
The only reason I didn't feel like that, necessarily was coming, though it was the right call, it was they hadn't done it before. But this young guy's going to be a really good player here, just a freshman.
So we talk so much about Jared Kihas down in the truck and all of our crew that pushing all the buttons, levers, things. I know they eat a lot of candy in there too, like they do. See, look at that. We got Liz in there. We got Thomas in there. To the near side, Zebak comes up with a reception. He's got it inside UMS territory and knocked out of bounds inside the 50. And we got Ed. We got our entire. Look at our Jonathan there. I mean, this is so. I mean, they cram them all in there, so they're the ones. See the monitors and all of the sound, everything. Kihas. So we haven't seen. There's Jared. He was our guest in the pregame show one time. I think this is the only time we've seen him on.
Well, they should all get that chance.
I agree. And again, this all headed up by Jared Kihas from UTV 44, NBC 15. Just does it's his passion. I mean, this is no doubt high school football. Putting it on TV is Gibson breaks ahead inside the 30. And let's see if we get another playoff here in the third.
We're set up on the visitors' side because of the virus, quite frankly, and so we're outside and now giving this side of the field a chance to raise their voices and ring their cowbells and applaud their Satsuma Gators.
And with 10 seconds left, Satsuma here in the third. We'll see if Coach Nelson wants him to snap one again, or looks like they'll just let the quarter come to a close, and we are through 3. The UMS in control of this one, but Satsuma trying to get a little something to build on. They're driving here, and we'll see if they can punch it in to start the fourth after this on Friday Night Rivals, a Thursday night edition. Happy homecoming for UMS here tonight. See the big lead here as we start the fourth. Satsuma gives it off to Zebak on the right side, cuts it on the inside, still on his feet. He's in for the touchdown. Matthew Zebak, the sophomore, 24-yard touchdown run.
He let the line do their job against the young UMS-Wright defense on the field right now. And Zebak, who had a heck of a collision on the sideline right before the quarter ended.
Yep.
This time he doesn't really have to engage with anybody.
Gibson got just enough of a block there to spring him free. And now they'll go for 2. Gibson in the backfield, and Giles in there to block as well. Throws and incomplete as he was trying to go to the lanky Coulter. The Gators get on the board here tonight, and it's Coach Nelson again. And we mentioned in the first half, just joining us, really, just really one of the highlights of the season is getting to know him as a person and as a coach this week. We both really, really enjoyed that.
I would agree. You've got to dig down deeper. And special ed teacher. He was a terrific player at Theodore High School 20 years ago. He was the 6A, which at that time was the largest, highest level. Offensive player of the year in the state.
All state.
All state. I met him at an event here in Mobile where he was being decorated as the top player in this part of the state.
Then went to Sanford, started 4 years there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Quarterback that started 4 consecutive years at Sanford and set all kinds of records there too, right?
Yep. 9 plays, 79 yards for the Gators there. 6.5 minutes off the clock.
Z-back sounds like something that could cure your cold.
I could use a...
He cured some of the ills for this team with that touchdown. They were looking to get that 0 off the board, and they did. Good job.
And he'll kick off here. And they try the onside kick and bounces in the air. And so, you know, if you're watching them, you're saying that. So they're down 42-6. Why would they onside kick? Well, because you might need to execute that in a game later on down the year that isn't.
That's a good point, too.
A blowout. All right, our trivia question here. Name the former UMS-Wright defensive coordinator who's also the head coach of Satsuma, 1970, 1974. Did us a big solid here one night.
Man. Was he a graduate of BC Rain?
He was coaching in 1970. That I do.
Was his son in coaching as well? Oh, Don Jennings.
Coach
wow.
Don Jennings, who one of the greatest defensive minds down here. Terry Curtis hired him, and so he retired after the 2015 season. He was 77.
Gosh.
Still calling the defenses, and that's when Jay Cozio came over here. But we were across the way.
I remember it.
During a game. It was a rainy, hot night, and we couldn't see out of the press box. And he got a squeegee and cleaned off our window so we could continue to broadcast the game.
As he was calling defense.
Yes. So Don Jennings, his son Dan, watching the game tonight, and Don, hopefully he was watching as well. If he was watching, he's probably upset at the 6 that Satsuma just scored, the old defensive coordinator. They try it again, and this one goes out of bounds. But that was Terry Curtis. You know, that was one of the great things. You know, he's always had, and he's talked about just great staffs, wealth of knowledge. Terry said, I don't go in the defensive coach's room. I don't watch the film with them unless things. He said if I'm in there, things
gone sideways.
Yeah, so he's always had great coaches, and Don Jennings, who again one of the great defensive minds down here for decades, and was the UMS-Wright defensive coordinator for all the great years through the great runs here. And
how about Dan, his son, who's gone on to have a really outstanding career in baseball upper management, the MLB.
Yeah, he was the GM of the Marlins and actually went down to the dugout for a while when they moved the GM down into the dugout, and he was a great baseball player himself, and was part of the Astros team that won the World Series as well, and great representative from our area here, and big fan of high school sports, and always checking in to see how we're doing. So Jackson Bassett, a good job there on the kick, and UMS will have it here at midfield. Next week, we should have a good one. Next week is get our first chance to see the Blunt Leopards this year, and we will see them against a McGill team who we only saw once, and they've improved greatly since then. It didn't have a great game against Saraland, but McGill and Blunt next week from Blunt. And we go back to Jansen Graham, the sophomore. He'll pick up 5. drive.
Just running these counters and letting the offensive linemen do their thing, and these backs are well accustomed to knowing where to run.
Walker Wilcox checks in on the offensive line. Now, since this young man's been about 6, there's been a lot of talk that he will be the governor of Alabama someday.
Is that right?
Lots of, I kid you not.
When you project him at the age of 6.
And it all comes from, anything like that would come from his mom's side. He has been one of those kids destined to hold court, if you will. He's the kid now.
To lead others.
Yeah.
Encroachment on the defense. Second down.
His dad Willis on the chain gang here for UMS-Wright. And second and less than 1 for the Bulldogs.
Excuse me.
Get inside the 30. First down again for the Bulldogs for Graham. 3 minutes gone by here. BLP paints school colors. Cam looking over there at the UMS side of things. A victorious night here for the Bulldogs, and Coach Curtis will feel better how this game has gone for his team as they get ready for BC Rain next week. Graham on the left side to the 20.
You wouldn't think that little guy could push the pile, but he did it right there.
Booth in there to make the tackle. We were talking about that young man, and he was our guest in the pregame show, and I looked at you and Coach afterwards and said, you talk about kids who just have it, like that was him. You could just tell with Nathan Booth, and Coach Curtis wanted to talk about his baseball playing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Commercial break. Yeah.
Terry was well aware that he's an excellent baseball player at Satsuma. I guess he's seen him play. Terry goes to as many events as he can on the UMS campus.
Wilcox into block, and Graham will try to follow his lead, and now cuts it to the inside. So Satsuma have to put this one behind him and have a tough one against Faith next week. Faith and Viger matchup here this evening.
Yeah, Faith is rounding into form, right?
Oh, yep.
Jack French coach team. We saw them early in the year. They squeaked out a win against Williamson. And who knew that a few weeks later they would squeak out an overtime win against this team, UMS-Wright.
Play clock coming down to 10. And the inside game to Graham as we're inside 7 minutes to go in this one.
Well, you look at the teams we've seen in the upper echelon at the different region levels and at the different levels of let's say from 5A up.
Mm-hmm.
You wonder who from this area can do some damage. I think Mobile Christian in 4A is going to be a handful as they go on.
Yeah, absolutely. Graham, not much there on third down.
5A St. Paul's looks pretty sturdy. But we saw a game where this team, UMS-Wright, pretty much, I won't say they outplayed them, but they certainly played them even. Had the lead for much of the game.
Remember that game, like UMS fell behind, was it 10-0?
10-0 real quick.
And then battled back, and then UMS had a touchdown called back, and then it was a back and forth game. But
well, it led to one of the most viral post-game conversations with a coach we've ever had.
Coach Mask, one of our favorites. We say that about, it seems like every week we do a game, we talk about the coach and say one of our favorites because they all really are like that. Is Elliott tried to come out of the backfield and no quit in the Satsuma defense there to break the stop was Metzler, and that's what Terry Curtis, I think, was talking about these teams that continue to play hard when you're down, continue to play well when things aren't going your way. And we've seen that here tonight. And
So continuing that thought, Jim, Spanish Fort knows how to make a run in the playoffs.
yep,
Of course, that win at Saraland was big, but it was only a 3-point win. You got to figure Saraland that got up to number 2 ranking at one point this season.
Yep.
They can make some noise in the playoffs.
So I want to see Blunt next week.
Yep.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to see them, see where McGill's.
We'll get to assess both those teams in one night. That'll be fun.
Yeah, of course, Blunt, so many challenges early in the year to get games played. Pushed out of bounds.
They really liked what they had coming back, too. I mean, the Blunt community was like, wait till you see our team this year. Well, we really haven't had that chance, but we will next week.
And Lee Hunter, we talk all about him. Big defensive lineman who's been so talented. Now we see he's running the ball some. Caught a touchdown pass last week. Utilizing big talented athlete all over the field.
You say big, we're talking big.
Rolling out. Barfoot completes that one. Off to Braden Coulter. Coulter with his 11th catch of the season. That's a first down.
Little tempo out of the Gators now.
Yep.
Just kind of flexing that muscle, seeing how they do with it. Because like you say, there could be a time in a big game late against Gulf Shore, say, final game of the year.
Sure.
They need to do this, and so might as well do it now.
Or maybe need it in round 1 of the playoffs.
Yep.
Barfoot rolls again. Fires this one, able to get it complete to Robinson. Good open field tackle there as Robinson had taken it just across the 35, and he has a chance to go off to the races each time he gets it. Will Smith comes in and makes another tackle for the Bulldogs. Another first down for Satsuma here as clock rolling. We approach 3 minutes to go. Freshman quarterback rolls out, fires it off again, goes off to Coulter, who slips a tackle. He's up to midfield.
Nice catch by Coulter.
Yep. You can see why he can be trouble in space with that big lanky frame and big catch radius and big target.
The phrase catch radius wasn't around when we started these games 20 years ago.
How about having a phone in the booth? Like we didn't even have, we didn't have them back then like that. And you didn't text, you didn't, so much has changed in 22 years, except us, of course. Inside gives Z-back still on his feet. He breaks another tackle, and Z-back still rolling inside the 20 down to the 18-yard line as he picks up 32. See how they like this young man, just a sophomore. So how many times are you going to see that play in the next few years between Barfoot and Z-back?
Yeah, and then this kid's going to have a nice career because they block well up front, and they're going to continue to do that. You can see that's going to be a staple of what this team is, more than likely.
Side 2 minutes. Robinson in the flat. Robinson getting out of bounds at about the 10. Patel in there to make the stop. So Satsuma can punch one in here. Again, we're going with the continuous clock. So the second half has gone quickly. Gibson checks back in for the Wildcats. Excuse me, for the Gators. Oh, snapped through the hands of Barfoot, and he'll go all the way back to 25. And Coach Nelson was a little exasperated on that one, saying, dang it, this was a chance to get something going here at the end. Great
plays to get him down that in scoring position, and then suddenly you got the bad snap or the bad connection. And we have to manage a rolling clock. Might be able to get a couple more plays off.
3rd and 14. Flag. Not had had many of those here in the second half.
No, we have not.
UMS jumped.
Dead ball foul. Encroachment on the defense. Third down.
Connell collision. Center flag. I'll make about a 3rd and 9 here, and it's maybe the last play of the game is down to inside 20 seconds. Z-back to about the 15, and that'll do it. So UMS corrects some woes they had in the past few weeks. They get the victory here handily over Satsuma by a score of 42-6. I think if you're Coach Curtis, you're pretty happy how your team came out and responded. As you said, probably a little salty after that loss last week to Faith Academy. And
if he was salty, he passed it along.
No,
and that's how his team came out to play tonight.
Yep, and he really likes that young man, and he says he's going to be a good one for a long time around here, and
he made that clear.
And he doesn't. Coach Curtis doesn't toss those platitudes around. You have to earn those, and he was talking about Coach Nelson very glowingly all week. The Bulldogs get the victory here tonight, 42-6, and Coach Curtis, not much change since the half. You were able to get a lot of kids in there in the second half, but good win and a step to getting things, I know, staying in the right direction as you look to close out the season and head to the playoffs.
Well, it is. It's a region win, and all of them are important now, trying to get in the playoffs. And, we got to play a lot of guys in the second half and, played our backup quarterback a good bit. And that's always good, and got to rest Blaylock the whole second half. So, some guys who've been nicked up a little bit, we got to give them a little break. And, it's a good homecoming when everybody gets to play.
Terry, what can this team do now down the home stretch and heading into the playoffs? What's the ceiling for this team? We know what you're always shooting for. We see the banners everywhere, but how about this particular team?
Well, we got to get tougher up front on defense. We're giving up too much yardage early in the game, rushing, and people just pounding it at us, and we just got to get better at that. And I think we're about to get the guys in the right place, and and when they do that and they learn what to do, they play a little bit faster, and that's always a good thing.
All right, Coach, your teams are always ascending at this time of the year. Looks like the same situation here at UMS. Thanks for all the great hospitality again this evening and all throughout the year, and good luck down the stretch.
All right, see y'all in a couple weeks. All right, thank you.
He's always lobbying to get it back on TV. Coach Curtis, he's always doing it. His final score here tonight, 42-6. His Bulldogs get the victory, and a homecoming win, as Coach Curtis mentioned here tonight. And again, I think he's very happy. You can see, and he's wants to see his team talked about improve defensively. A little bit, and back to the Satsuma side as well. There are some things you can learn from this game as well. I think if you're the Gators, because you look at, okay, so what did UMS do schematically maybe to shut us down a little bit? What can we prepare for as we go ahead? I think there's going to be some things, despite the final score. There'll be some things that the Gators are able to take from this one to try and improve as they head down the stretch.
Well, that Ray Nelson's really a thinking man's coach for sure. He thinks about the emotions of the kids, but he also thinks about the schemes that he's going up against. It seemed like when it was a big down, 3rd down or 4th down, when UMS-Wright had the ball, they were a step ahead. Mm-hmm. And when Satsuma had the ball, they found themselves a step behind, and UMS-Wright was able to shut down those opportunities to move the sticks. So that alone, you can watch the way the Bulldogs played it tonight, take some of what they deliver to you and get better as a team.
Bulldogs get the victory here tonight, and our players of the game. We got 3 for you to select, and it is going to be Edwin White had a 34-yard touchdown run. Colby Stafford, the wide receiver, also had a touchdown here tonight, and Trey Singleton, the quarterback, who continues just to win. That's what he does a lot. Wins as a quarterback.
Yes, he does.
The state championship last year, and has a point in the right direction again this year. Go to utv44.com, and you can vote on the player of the game. So for our great Friday Night Rivals crew working here on a Thursday, they'll enjoy a rare Friday night off in the fall. Matt Melton, our statistician, Dan Brennan, my partner, Jared Kihas in the truck. I'm Jim Cox saying good night from Ervin S. Cooper Stadium, where the Bulldogs roll big tonight, 42-6 here on Friday Night Rivals, just a night early.